Lankai didn't approach her right away. He knew this wasn't the kind of woman you called from across the cattle path with a lazy smile. He asked his mother first, then his aunt. Evening, Nalotuesha found her mother seated on the stool reserved for serious talks. A pot of tea boiled slowly beside her, steam curling like old secrets. He has asked, Mama Nyan said simply. Nalotuesha knew who she stirred the tea with. A stick of lemongrass, her hands calm, but her heart racing like a gazelle chased through the bush. And what did you say? She asked, almost whispering. Mama Nyan smiled. Not the kind of smile that showed teeth, but the kind that glowed from inside the eyes. I said, a lioness does not answer a call. She studies the wind first. Meat, lankais, people brought goats, milk, and a fat ram. They wore fine red shukas and walked with confidence, but there was respect in every step. Nalotuesha did not attend the meeting. She waited at home, weaving a bracelet of white and red beads, peace and courage. When the elders returned, they were pleased. He speaks our language, her uncle said. He drank the sour milk like a true son of the soil, her aunt added. And he never interrupted even once, Mama Nyan said. That sealed it. It wasn't long before Lankai came, not with a grand speech, but with a small wooden box carved with the patterns of the old warriors. He found Nalotuesha near the cattle pen, tying herbs into bunches to hang for drying. I don't want a wife who disappears into my shadow, he said gently. I want a partner who brings her fire into my home. She looked at him then, not at his city clothes or polished speech but his eyes. And what she saw there was a man who had gone to the world but carried his roots in his chest. I will not stop grinding millet because I am married, she said, and I will not lower my voice if it needs to be heard. Lankai smiled. Then we are already rich. Their wedding was not loud, but it was full. Women sang old chants under the spreading fig tree. Children wore strings of beads and painted their faces with ash. Lankai brought his friends from the city, unsure how they would fit in, but they did. One was seen stomping his foot in rhythm to the Maasai dance, another laughing with the elders. Chewing on goat ribs, Nalotuesha wore a shuka her mother had kept for years, one stitched with her grandmother's hands. When she walked to the center of the circle, even the wind seemed to pause. She danced, not for show, but for her people, for her journey, for the soil that raised her. Nalotuesha did not leave her culture behind. When she moved closer to the reserve with Lankai, she carried it with her. She started a small school under a large tree, young girls beadwork, herbal healing, and storytelling. She wore her beads to meetings, spoke her language with pride, and reminded visitors that modernity is not a replacement for roots, but a bridge. And when her first daughter was born, she named her Nayan after her mother because Nalotuesha was not just a wife from the village. She was a legacy braided into the land, stitched into the hearts of those who had known her fire. The negotiations began at sunrise on a cool, quiet morning. The village elders sat on cowhides beneath an acacia tree, their shukas bright like fire, their staffs resting against their knees. The rhythm was slow, deliberate as it had been for generations. 7 cows were agreed upon not just for wealth. 3 goats would go to the aunties who would guide her through marriage. 2 gourds of honey beer were shared among men. But every sip held memory and meninga. Names were invoked and blessings spoken over dry tobacco leaves inside the manyata. Mama Nyan dressed her daughter with the care of a sculptor shaping history. She wrapped Nalotuesha in a new red shuka, worn yet vibrant. Beads of white, black, green, and a single red strand woven through the middle, courage that never broke. This belt saw me through storms, Mama Nyan said, tying it around Nalotuesha's waist. And it will remind you your worth is not a gift from your husband, it is your birthright. Nalotuesha's hands trembled slightly as her mother adjusted the final bead, but her eyes held steady. The village gathered under the sacred fig tree. Songs filled the air, chants of love, prayers for fertility, and praise for the ancestors. Women danced in a circle, their feet thumping dust into the sky. Men clapped and ululated, calling on the spirits of the land to bless the union. Children chased each other through the legs of goats, laughing freely, and then Nalotuesha walked into the clearing head-high steps. Sure, she did not walk as a girl given away. She walked as a woman stepping into legacy, a daughter of a lioness, a future mother of flame. Lankai met her halfway, dressed in a mix of modern and traditional wara, sign that he came from 2 worlds, but stood grounded in one. He bowed low, offering her a calabash of milk. She sipped, then placed a beaded necklace around his neck, not as decoration, but as welcome. Their hands met not tightly, not urgently, but confidently. Mama Nyan watched with eyes full of memory. Behind her, Nalotuesha's siblings stood, proud, 3 brothers and 3 sisters. Each had played a part in shaping this moment. That night, the stars were bold. A fire was lit in the center of the homestead. Stories were told of how Nalotuesha once tamed a runaway bull, how she healed her sister's fever with herbs, how her silence could still a room. Women from nearby villages leaned in, whispering that girl was raised right. She carries her home with her. She will build her marriage, not be buried in it. Expand yourself through it. Nalotuesha did just that. She built a bridge between tradition and change. She remained a healer, a teacher, a bearer of story and fire. Thank you for watching. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, and tune in for part 3 where Nalotuesha's journey continues with more wisdom, courage, and fire. See you in the next chapter.